Welcome to Talking Bollocks with me, your host Howard H. Smith. Yes, it's me. It's time for the bollocks. If this is the first time you've listened, you're probably thinking, oh, God, I don't think I'm going to make it to the end of this podcast. Well, you can, tough. Whatever. How's that for a hard sell? Hello, welcome to Talking Bollocks, the podcast for November, the Bollocast, nay, the most truthful, swear-filled, cunt, Bollocast podcast there is, the only Bollocast there is, the most sweary, cunty, fucky, bastard, shit, wank, tit, cunt podcast out there. Hello, I was going to say my name, I've already said it, but let's go for it, let's do the intro, because it's like Tourette's, I have to do it. Let's try and do it in one breath, shall we? It's me, but you're in this as well. Come on, here we go. My name is Howard H. Smith. I am the lead singer in rebooted Acid Rain UK thrash band, back since 2015. 2 new singles on the road next month for 3 dates. Also, I do this podcast. You got it. Also, do stand-up comedy, keithplatt.co.uk, and also on Twitter and on Facebook. Everywhere you can find me, I am. And I'm now running out of breath. Right, so, I can't be arsed with that stuff. Please subscribe, please leave a review, and all the other shit that every other podcast says. Yeah, do that. I'm also on Patreon. That's right. If you want to subscribe to Patreon, there's loads of really cool Acid Rain stuff. There's loads of cool Acid Rain stuff, behind the scenes stuff, MP3s of live shows that aren't available anywhere else other than via my Patreon page. There is one from Manchester last year on there. There's one there's going to be coming up next month, one from Liverpool on the 1990 Obnoxious tour, going to be available as well. Behind the scenes videos of demoing and writing the new album. And there's also, what am I talking about? There's great Bollocast extras. This month there will be a Dani Filth extra where a couple of subscribers had particular questions for him. I asked him in a completely different section that will go onto the Patreon page for Patreon subscribers. Come on, $5 a month, £3.50. What the fucking fuck? Get fucking on there, you fucking fucker. And there you go. Yeah, that's the swearing. And if this is your first time listening, you're probably wondering how the hell I've ever done more than 2 of these and got more than 1 listener. And I don't blame you. But my people, they're out there. Hello. Welcome. It's nice to be back. It's nice to be back in your ears. So, what has been going on in the world of metal in the last month that I feel the need to arrogantly pontificate about? Well, before we go any further, this hasn't happened in the last month, but I've got to get this out there. It's on the top of my list, and that is, you can go onto YouTube and you can search the phrase Everyday Sunshine, and you can find a documentary movie that is 1 hour 40 minutes. The voiceover is by Lawrence Fishburne, and it is about Fishbone. That's right, Lawrence Fishburne is doing the voiceover for Fishbone. And Lawrence Fishbone, if you will, you can see why I do the comedy. Just putting it out there. Next time you're on YouTube, 1 hour 45 minute documentary on one of the greatest live bands ever. One of a real favourite band of mine. Love Truth and Soul. The reality of my surroundings. It's good, but there's just too much on there. And then Give a Monkey a Brain is just a bit too metal. But anyway, look, just some absolutely brilliant party at Ground Zero, every move. Yeah. So if you like Fishbone, get stuck in. That's Howard's tip for the first 5 minutes of the podcast. So what else has been going on? I bought a ticket for A Perfect Circle. I'm going along to that after the second date was announced, because I missed out on the first date. And in the news was Perfect Circle chucking people out of their gigs for using cameras, or using camera phones, as it were. And some people try to make a big deal out of this, and I'm sure some people listening to this sounds like, fucking hell, fuck them, that's mental, what are they doing? Well, the thing is, I first went to see Perfect Circle over a decade ago. The reason I know this, I can't remember the exact date, unless actually I'm just going to nip into my hallway, because my hallway I have framed all of the tickets of gigs I've ever been to. Not framed individually, you idiot. I'm not mental, but they're up there, and just bear with me, I'm going to pause this and I'm going to go and see if I can find the ticket so I can find out what fucking year it was. Hang on. It was the 3rd of February 2004. So there you go, 13 years ago. And they requested that there be no smoking at the gig, because this was obviously prior to the smoking ban. And not only was it no smoking, it was no pictures. Now, you know, this predated decent camera phones, no pictures, and they did warn, and I've been to see Tool many times, and they do the same. So basically what I'm saying is, yes, times have changed, but Tool haven't. And neither have A Perfect Circle, and neither is Maynard with his project Pussifer either. Basically, you're not allowed to take pictures. That's the way it has always been. It's not just some new thing. It's always been like that. And there is signs everywhere. And you are told that you will be thrown out if you're caught taking any pictures or video. So, at this show, 60 people were thrown out. Now, 60 out, it sounds like a lot of people to get thrown out of a gig. And it is by normal standards. But bearing in mind, there was a couple of thousand people there. It's not that many, is it? But the point I'm making is, ultimately, fuck these fucking these entitled Instagram fucks. You've been told time and time again, there's signs everywhere, there are announcements made. When I saw Pussifer, there was even an actual video before the gig telling you to stay off, read the signs, stay, no pictures, etc. You will get thrown out. It is repeated again and again, and then these fucking entitled fucking self-righteous pricks ignore all of this, go and use their phones and to take pictures or video anyway, get thrown out, and then start fucking moaning about it. Well, tough fucking shit. Okay, I might be flying in the face of popular opinion here, but who gives a fuck? If there's a big fucking sign saying if you use your phone to take pictures or video, you are going to be thrown out, and then you get thrown out, I don't see how you've got anything to fucking complain about. Anyway, so getting needlessly angry there, really. I was really getting into that, wasn't I? You'd think it was something to do with Acid Rain or something like that. And they've released a new song, A Perfect Circle, released a new song, The Doomed, and hope there's some better stuff to listen to by the time the gig comes around. Unfortunately, folks, I was due to get Roger Myret on the podcast. How awesome would that have been? Roger Myret from Agnostic Front. That would have been really cool, but no. I'm afraid what we're in a position with is we've actually got nobody. I had to miss it. I got a comedy gig booked, and I'm afraid, self-employed, had to go for the money. So I missed that. My apologies. One thing I didn't miss back in the day was Faith No More with Chuck Mosley, who sadly passed away this month. At the time of speaking, it's a suspected heroin overdose, and it's a real shame. That gig was awesome. It really was, and I've never seen a chemistry like it on stage before. I probably never will again. There was quite clearly some kind of animosity between the band. I mean, at one point, Jim Martin was soloing, and Chuck Mosley went up to the machine heads, the tuning pegs on his guitar, and started basically untuning his guitar. I mean, you don't fucking do that. And it was weird because it was really there was an energy. It was a fucking amazing energy. But you got a sense that this could all go wrong any minute, that it could all kick off. It really was. It was pretty amazing. It really, really was. But yeah, it was just fantastic and a real unique experience. It really was. So now onto some things that I haven't been talking about, which is albums. So Propaganda, Victory Lap, the new album, really liking it now. I know I said last month I wasn't getting into it. Am I going to get into it enough to make my top 5 of the year? Not sure. It's knocking on the door. But Propaganda fans probably already got it. But certainly worth a listen if you haven't heard any Propaganda. Worth a listen. Shout out to... Oh, God, I've turned into Jamie Jaster. Shout out to my dead cat. Shout out to Mammal, the Australian band Mammal. I'm a big fan. Saw them live when they were together first time round. They've just got back together after years apart. Great band, awesome band live. I urge you to go to YouTube, check out Smash the Pinata and The Minority, 2 cracking tunes. Check out The Minority, then check out Smash the Pinata. Really cool stuff. So what else we got? New Machine Head track out. New Machine Head track out. Really like it. I like parts of it. I really like the opening riff, which apparently everybody started giving Devin Townsend shit. Giving Rob Flynn shit, saying it was a rip-off of Strapping Young Lad. Devin Townsend was extremely cool, saying, well, look, everything's borrowed. We all borrow from each other. The chorus to that song that you're saying that that Rob's ripped off, well, the chorus I ripped off from Yes. So take it easy. And it was really nice to see just a frank exchange of views between musicians on Facebook. What else we got? Something massive for me, and I'm sorry I can't name who, but me and the Acid Rain Boys have come up with a cover version of a famous artist's song. Not particularly famous song. If you know them, you've heard it. But we reworked it, and we've done a demo of it. And I sent the demo to their management, and I also sent it to their Facebook page. And I got a message back a week later from the Facebook page from the artists themselves saying that they absolutely love what we've done. And I mean, this was an absolute moment of sheer joy for me. I could not believe it. It was absolutely awesome. So, really, really chuffed. And yeah, it just put an absolute total spring in my step. It was awesome. So what else have we got going? Kiss. Yes, the gift that keeps on giving. The pile of shit that keeps on giving, that is Kiss. So Paul Stanley quotes, the next Kiss album would have to be something different, says Paul Stanley. So, good then. Get it? Different, good, as in all their other stuff is shit. Yeah, okay. Or disco, of course. Could always do another fucking disco album, couldn't they? Fucking sellout cunts. And Gene, this is Gene Simmons. What a wonderful statement. This is okay. This is Gene. I quote: "I'm a powerful and attractive man." That is Gene Simmons saying he is a powerful and attractive man. He looks like a badly drawn toy gorilla. I mean, how that man thinks he is good looking. Please, any female bollockers out there, that sounds weird, any female listeners out there, please do tweet me, message the Facebook page, whatever. I mean, is Gene Simmons good looking? Because, I don't want to be the one to pronounce on male looks, good or bad, handsome or not. But to me, I would rather fuck a dustbin if I was a woman. But there you go. So anyway, what I'm getting at is, this is the story, right? What allegedly happened once the cameras stopped rolling. This was a TV show he did, right? And this is a quote from one of the people working at the TV company, who has since said, I think it's Fox, have since banned him, right? And it says, Kiss bassist banned from network. Simmons was set to plug his book with Fox News, when an unnamed source said, I'm making a complete mess of this. Entertainment. When, according to an unnamed Fox staffer, he barged into a production meeting, pulled open his red velvet shirt and yelled, "Hey chicks, sue me," before telling Michael Jackson paedophilia jokes, then bopped 2 employees on the head with his book, making derisory comments about their comparative intelligence according to the sound their heads made when struck. I am reading that word for word. I know this story might have passed you by, but if anything tells you that this man lives on a parallel universe where he is the king, this is it. I mean, smacking people on the head and making comments about how intelligent they are by the sound of the head. That sounds like the kind of thing that happened to you when you were like that would happen to you when you were like 5 years old at Christmas time, and Granny might come round and bop you on the head with a fucking Christmas card or something and say, "Oh, it sounds hollow in there." I mean, what the fuck is the guy on? What is he on? It's just absolute insanity. He's since been... he's been banned from the entire Fox network. I mean, it's just fucking brilliant. What an absolute cock. No self-awareness whatsoever. "I'm a powerful and attractive man." I mean, really, yeah, and also a dick. Have you not noticed? It just boggles my fucking mind. It really, really does. And I know I seem to have, Gene and Dave Mustaine seem to kind of alternate as people that I have it in for. But I mean, they are the 2 most consistent people who just keep coming out with utter shit. Brilliant. Honestly, I could do a whole podcast on Kiss. Why the fuck would I want to do that? Seriously, why would I want to do a podcast on fucking Kiss? And it happened, didn't it? Bill Ward, new band, about to go on tour. What's happened to the tour? Cancelled. Where's Bill Ward? In hospital. What's he got a problem with? His heart. Now, I'm not saying that Tony Iommi and Ozzy and Geezer are sat back in their houses laughing, going, "We fucking told you." I'm sure they're both, sending him messages, wishing him well and all the rest of it. But I tell you what, I bet Sharon Osbourne is sat there with a big fat fucking stogie cigar on, giving it, I told you, in that horrible voice that she's got. But I bet she did. It's just stands to reason. And I'm not celebrating Bill Ward getting ill here, by the way. I'm not. I wish him a fast recovery. I feel sorry for his bandmates and all the rest of it. But after all of the pontificating about being fit enough to play Black Sabbath sets and all the rest of it and blah blah, the fact that this happens before his tour has even begun, it does make the whole thing a little bit more understandable. Although I've got to be honest, I can't watch that Black Sabbath movie, The End, without Bill Ward being there. It never crossed my mind to go to any of the gigs or anything like that. But it just doesn't seem right. So there you go. That's classic. Oh, excuse me. Excuse me. I'm gonna have to get a drink as well now. Would you like to listen? You haven't got a choice, really, have you? It is sad, but it is what it is. I'm afraid. It looks like Bill just wasn't fit enough, or wasn't going to be fit enough. Anyway, that's enough jibber jabber from me, isn't it? It's time we got on with our first guest. Well, our first guest is the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Dani Filth from Cradle of Filth. So this interview was supposed to take place in London on their last show of the tour, but unfortunately Dani got injured. We will talk about this at the beginning of the podcast, but so we were unable to meet up and do this face to face. But being the absolute pro that he is, he took time out to have a chat with me a couple of days later on the Monday when he was back home. What a class act. Thoroughly nice guy. I'm surprised we've never met, and we very nearly did, but it thwarted at the last minute. But like I said, the absolute pro came through for me, and we had a right old chat that you're going to listen to now. So this is mine and Danny's conversation a few weeks ago. Hello, Howard speaking.
Yes, hello, this is Danny.
Hello there, Danny.
Hiya.
Hiya, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you okay to talk now?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine. More to the point, how are you?
Yeah, suffering a little bit. I pulled a muscle tore a muscle in my back at one of the shows. And, a bit agonised.
Yeah, it sounds like your tour manager was telling me it was around the sort of rotator cuff area. Is that right?
Well, whatever that means, yeah.
Right, okay, because it's just that's an injury that is quite common in boxing. So I just wondered if you'd been hitting people.
Yeah, well, we were actually boxing. That's how I think I did it. It was a combination of jumping around on stage and we were just doing boxing training. Right,
that'll do it. That'll do it. Oh, absolute agony as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
How did you manage to get through the shows? That must have been quite a trial.
Well, it was. The last 3 shows were fucking horrible. Well, they were good. They were great shows, but I just found that I had to sort of readjust the singing as well. I couldn't hit a pure note because I just couldn't move my body into the position I needed to.
Yeah, I totally understand. Being a vocalist myself, I should introduce myself. I sing in old UK thrash band Acid Rain, and I've been doing stand up for the last 20 years. And I can't believe that we've never met at some point over the years.
Yeah, that's strange. Yeah, I've got a mutual friend in Kevin.
Yeah.
I had a mutual friend in Kevin. I haven't seen him for yonks.
Yeah, and I haven't seen him for yonks either. So have you? Do you know his brother Stilly?
Not really, no.
Oh, right, okay.
I mean, I've seen him. I don't know him.
Right, okay, that's fair enough. And another question out of the blue. Do you play five-a-side football at all?
Yeah, well, 7-a-side, when you can get the people. Yeah, why?
No, because I think I know somebody who. The problem is somebody recounted to me a story of saying, "Oh yeah, I play 5-a-side with Danny," and I was like, "Oh right, okay." And he said, and I said, I'll try and get him on the podcast. I was like, "Oh great, thanks." And I can't remember who the fuck it was. So yeah,
well, could be someone from Ipswich because that's where we play.
Right. Okay. Well, that narrows it down to a few people, and hopefully one of them will be listening to this and go, "That was me, you twat." Anyway, a UK tour undertaken, and from the sounds of it, it was a hellish success.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, really enjoyed it. Had it not been for this. Well, had it not been for the fact they hadn't booked anymore, but I would have been quite happy to go back out on the road for another week or so.
Yeah.
Because I just don't think we covered what we could have done, basically. There's some places we played, like Oxford, where if you can play Oxford, you can play Exeter. If you can play Exeter, you can play, anywhere, really.
Yeah.
And it's just some places you want to visit, do you know what I mean? You always play Glasgow, which is great. Glasgow's awesome, but I'd like to play Aberdeen. Apparently it's a cool club. I like playing weird and wonderful places. We're going to Tel Aviv at the end of the European tour. And we've got some other weird and wonderful ones being lined up. And that's half the fun, getting out into new territories.
Well, that is, when you said I want to play Aberdeen, I was going to mention that I once played Alloa, and I thought that was impressive. But Tel Aviv just about nips Alloa, I think. It's that's considerably more impressive. I know what you mean by the UK as well, though, because it's. I mean, I don't know if it's just UK fans, but people do like a good moan about where you're not playing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the first thing anybody does.
Yeah.
But you're not playing my hometown.
Yeah, absolutely.
And generally, the people are moaning don't bother wouldn't turn up anyway, even if you were playing it.
Oh, it's all. Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. It's all giving you grief for a gig they were never going to go to anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the last tour we did, we put some fictional tour dates to connect the dates we were doing, and one of them just said, "Your house, you moaning twat." Because it's just I don't know, it's like, you see people in the States who are used to traveling kind of like 8-10 hour round trips within their own within their own state. We just don't realize how spoiled we are over here.
No, that's absolutely true. I meet people all the time when we play the States that do those massive trips, and you think, crying out loud. You know what I mean? And then they've got a hotel on top of that as well, so enormo drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And invariably an enormous drive through just flat nothing. It's incredible, it really is. So when do the Europe dates start, and Tel Aviv and all of that?
We actually got, I say we've got a bit of time off. I'm actually in the studio as of tomorrow, albeit on a gurney. They start, I think, January the 15th. But we've got things to do before then. We're remixing the Cruelty and the Beast down for the 20th anniversary, which is next year. We've got another video to shoot in Latvia, and rehearsals and all the other little bits and pieces that come with the new album. I'll be doing a bunch of press as well. We've got some gigs from my other band, Devilment. But yeah, I think this run of dates is more like a preliminary warm-up, although it wasn't a warm-up as such, because that sounds awful. It sounds like testing things on the fans, but in a way, I guess we were. And yeah, like I say, it was really good fun playing the UK. It always is. Although London's always hellish because you've always got record companies and magazines and friends and family, and it's one of those days, it's just pure chaos. But overall, really enjoyed it, yeah. And looking forward to going out in Europe.
That's awesome. That is awesome because I don't know. It's a lot of given the fact that artists need to spend so much time on the road these days, because you're effectively burning cash if you're not. It's nice to hear that you're still so enthusiastic about it, and as I believe, kind of sort of working on a writing a new album as you go.
Well, I'm not going that far.
All right, okay.
We'll dabble in stuff. You always have these great aspirations for going on tour. You go, oh yeah, I'm going to be writing this tour diary. I'm going to start writing a book as well. And you know what? I'm going to be doing this and this. And then that's okay for the first few days. And then you get into the routine. Suddenly you realise there aren't that many hours in the day, and that you are getting up later because, you've just done 5 gigs in a row and you're absolutely knackered.
Yeah.
And then you got an hour, waiting for a shower or hunting one down. And then you have signings. You have things at all awkward times of the day.
Yeah.
So all of that great pre-planning kind of goes out the window at some point or another.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's the mundane things that take up time, like you say, just kind of like either an hour waiting for a shower or just trying to track one down. There's you say mundane things, just a little getting bys take a while. I mean, the other day we were just sitting outside in the van because we decided not to do it with a tour bus in this, and I actually preferred it. We had a van, not to sleep in, but we did the hotel thing. Right. And although, okay, you've got to get up at, a reasonable hour, despite, you probably get 6 hours a night sleep, but you can survive on that. The adrenaline keeps you going through all that. But what's better than a tour bus is the fact you get to have a regular poo, I really miss that in the morning, being able to actually have shit. Absolutely. Hey, look.
Then there's the coronary, bypass that accompanies the breakfast, and a shower and a clean bed. A tour bus is great, admittedly, but you wouldn't say that after 5 weeks in if you would stick your nose into it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's something about the smell of that chemical toilet that after a while, it's just, you just can't take it. But that's that. Yeah, well, the older you get, the more enjoyable having a good shit is.
Yeah.
It's like, coffee enema first thing in the morning, and then some time spent on the toilet. Just take.
But you just notice it when it's not like anything when it's not available.
Yeah.
The first time, you're on a tour bus or the first couple of days, and you go, "Oh my god, this is hell."
Yeah.
So your body kind of mutates and survives. You have to. You've got to live in a coffin for 8 weeks.
Well, do you think that the route you took, as in vans and hotels, was? I mean, it's degrees of shitness, but do you think it enabled a slightly more civilized lifestyle on the road?
Yeah, I do. It wasn't degrees of shitness. The hotels were all really cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't naff. They were just like, Best Westerns and stuff like that, and travel lodges. Anything's nice as long as it's clean and, let's say, got a toilet and coronary thrombosis for breakfast. And the van was cool enough. I mean, the thing with England is there's no drive that's long enough to that warrants a tour bus. I mean, this is the first time we've ever done it without a tour bus, to be fair, and probably saved quite a bucket load of money. But we're getting a super big one for Europe because we're also taking Moonspell out. They'll be sharing the bus, but don't mind that. We toured with them quite a few times before. So looking forward to that. And the States, well, forget about it. You can't do anything without a tour bus there.
Yeah. But that's good though. Like you say, it's a slightly different pace of touring in the UK. And you're right, unless you're doing fucking, Aberdeen to Exeter, you really don't need a tour bus. That makes sense. That makes complete sense. So look, just to take a complete kind of left turn. Obviously, you guys have been going since '91. And are very much a staple of the scene. I just wanted to ask you, if it all ended tomorrow, are you happy with where you are, with your legacy, where you are seen, and how the band is viewed within this business of ours, and obviously within the business, but also from fans alike?
Well, I mean, providing I get their viewpoint on it, yeah, I think so. Obviously, we've got plenty more to give.
Yeah.
Because now we're starting to see a complete generation of other people who, view our earlier albums as, pre-civilization almost. When you talk to people and they go, yeah, but I was born in 95.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going, right, okay, so after our debut album came out.
Yeah.
So it probably wasn't actually got a lot of people got into our music from varying albums onward, like Damnation, which would be 2003, I think, or two. Some from Amphetamine, Pornography, and I met someone recently who got into it from like Manticore, which was like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Just because of the age thing. So from now on, every album is an anniversary, basically.
Yeah.
But definitely happy. I think we've definitely made our mark.
Oh, without a doubt.
We have a bit of a renaissance as a band as well. So hopefully we can, put another footprint down.
Well, yeah. Well, that's why I asked, because it is kind of like you've got like a second wind, a second coming.
And it's also it's a different playing field now as well. There's more bands because of the whole ability to record stuff in your, basically on the road in your bedroom. The music industry itself is falling a bit flat on its face. it's harder to sell records because of the immediacy of social media platforms and what have you. So the whole thing is a bit of a clusterfuck, to be honest.
Yeah.
But it's a challenge. You know, we're lucky because we already got quite a good stance in the scene, in the music industry anyway. So we're kind of one up on the majority of bands, but it's still, like I say, I call it a challenge.
Yeah. Well,
That's being polite.
Yeah, that's being polite about a lot of. You've had more than your fair share of run-ins with labels over the years, haven't you?
Well, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're quite happy with where we are now, but we've been, on quite a few labels. But then we've had quite a few we've had quite a few of everything.
I was going to say, I mean, can you sort of put your finger on why you've had so many members over the years, or is it's just the way it's worked out?
I literally just did an interview, and it was that came up actually. It's 29.
Right.
members,
okay.
which is quite a bit. That's like a big band.
Yeah. Well, that's like several bands.
Yeah. Well, it's, obviously because I'm the last surviving member, it always looks, and it's also, as I pointed out to the person asking the question, partly due to their magazine and the way they portray the band, it always looks like, I'm like this guy that's like a ringmaster who, doesn't put up with shit and, tells people what to do, and it's quite the opposite. The majority of I think we've only sacked 2 people. One of them, it wasn't really a sacking because we wanted them to sack themselves. So I think that's pretty good going. The majority of the time, it's either people just can't hack it. And when I mean that, it's just, either they move abroad, which was the case, sort of pre-social media, because now you could be people in our band do live abroad, and we're literally flung across the galaxy at present. But back in the day, it was very hard for someone to live in America, for example, and be in the band. So there's that, or it just becomes a bit overwhelming. They've got family commitments. Sometimes people just think they can do it better on their own. That's happened on about 4 or 5 occasions where they've gone, oh, fuck it, I'm going to be a singer in a band. I'm going to, start my own band, and that way I can take control of everything.
Yeah.
I just liken it to like working in a magazine or on a radio station or something. People come and go.
Yeah.
And the essence of that magazine or that radio station is still intact. The same with this band. And anyway, I always view years as dog years, like dog years with bands, because once you get that album out and you get out on the road and you get all those experiences and things to do, it does seem like every year is like 7 years worth of time.
That's a really good way of looking at it. You're absolutely right. It's almost like, well, if you put sort of 1 year, what sort of 1 year aside for one album, it's not a year, is it? From when you start writing to when you finish touring it, you're looking at 2.5, 3 years in some cases.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so much goes on in that time, and as a band, sharing those experiences, whether it's touring in, like I say, some far away wacky things you bloody get up to.
Yeah.
Take the toll and take the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, as well, is when you get to the end of that process, it's literally a case of a few months, and then okay, we need to start writing, and that whole process begins again. I guess it's just a little bit too much for some people in the end.
Yeah, absolutely, and that has happened in the past. But we've got a really good lineup at present, and I think in the current climate, we're a lot more mature as a band, which may not be a good thing, but, we learned, starting to revisit a lot of our earlier material and, being a bit more creative with our set lists, I guess.
Yeah. And
challenging. We challenge ourselves. And we didn't think we'd be able to pull this off this tour, because if our drummer was to be... if he got his way, we'd be literally playing 3 weeks worth of material because he wants to play everything. So we've been working out different set lists and what have you, and going back and playing songs that we've never played before.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to, well, as you say, you've got to, if you stay out of your comfort zone and keep challenging yourselves, it keeps things fresh. That's the way to keep to stay fresh, isn't it?
Yeah, because obviously you've got to play the tracks that the fans want you to play as well.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that every band says the same thing. Oh God, I've got to play that bloody song, because it's always going to be the encore song.
Yeah.
Because that's a popular song. That's what people want to see you for. So if you can get a nice balance between what they want to see and what you want to play, and everyone's a winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can't wait to get to that stage. That's why we're desperately working on a new album, because at the moment, just about every song we play is about 25 years old. So it's like, right, okay, this is, it's long enough has it been an exercise in playing the old stuff. Let's just try and get some new stuff in there as soon as possible. But as you say, like every band has their, has their ace of spades, has their stuff that, you're always going to have to play. And that's, ultimately everybody has parts of their job they're not keen on. And, if that's the worst thing that can happen, we're doing all right.
Yeah.
But also, it's funny when you were talking about band members leaving and stuff like that. If you do equate being in a band as a job, it's very rare that people, especially these days, spend 20, 25 years in a job. Never mind with 3 or 4 other people in the same department for 20, 25 years.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. And even your touring, I think. Yeah, if you consider, because we just moved over to new management and he wanted to sort of isolate different parts of the business and what have you. Even so, you're probably talking with record company and crew and everything, 30 people at max, you know what I mean? You spend the majority of your time with or around or conversing with.
Yeah. Yeah, and over the course.
So it's a small gene pool.
Yeah, exactly. And do you try and stick with the same crew and TM as much as possible?
As much as possible, yeah. And we had the same crew for a long while, but obviously they have to go out and work when you're writing. And we've lost a tour manager or two to other bands for that very reason.
Yeah.
But we get to revisit them, We were in Japan recently and got to see a few of our old tour managers actually working for other bands.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of weird, isn't it? Because you totally appreciate that they, what they have to do and all the rest of it, but occasionally it is kind of like, just maybe a little feeling of sort of being cheated on. It's like, that's our tour manager.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I say, everybody has to earn a living, and unfortunately, sometimes schedules just don't work out.
That's another bugbear of mine is the fact that we, as a band, we've obviously been picked on in the past for saying, it's not being, don't want to blow my own trumpet. There's only those couple of vertebrae got to go.
Oh, you're a Bill Hicks fan,
but
then?
For being too successful or apparently pushing the genre in the wrong way or whatever. We started a couple of years ago. We branched out and done a few different things, but we did this comic book and we did it via a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I saw that.
Stupid comments flying around like, well, you're rich enough already. Why are you asking for this money? It's like, listen, mate, do you know what I mean? I think you've got a jaded opinion, how a band lives and what they earn. And everybody's entitled to make a living, and that's the one thing that pisses me off about this whole, social media platforms and downloading music and what have you.
Yeah.
And the accessibility, and the fact that when people don't buy records, you know what I mean? It's like stealing. It is stealing, in fact. And because of that, these people who think, you're a multi-millionaire, are just, they're entitled to their job. They have someone coming into their workplace, and if they were working in Tesco's, they can come in and just help themselves to free food and say, well, it's grown in the ground, it's free.
Yeah.
People seem to have a divine right to have access to music that somebody else has spent a year making, because they think, well, it's not real, is it? It's just in the air. It's free.
Yeah. Well, that word that you picked up on there, free, is a great word. We see free, we like that. But the other side of that coin is that free means worthless.
Well, yeah.
And unfortunately, music. There's, unfortunately, there used to be a price on it, and now it is essentially free. And to the extent that people don't even want to own it, they'll just happily stream it, which does my fucking head in.
Exactly, and people's tolerance of music has gone down. For example, my daughter, she's got albums, but some of them haven't even been opened, and she would just flick through tracks.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you buy an album, you're kind of committed to listen to it, unless you're very rich or you don't care.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's 15 seconds.
And I don't think music's never been any cheaper anyway. I mean, a CD now, $7.99, $8.99.
Oh, I know.
It's nothing really, is it? I mean, it's the price of a bottle of wine.
Oh, well, then we get into the whole debate of somebody will go to work and they'll spend £7 on coffee every day. But if you ask for £7-8 for an album, you're somehow out of order.
Yeah, but why are those people going to work? They're going to work to earn money. It's okay for them to have their living, but their bands can't.
Yeah.
It's a really weird, false economy at the present. It's just a very strange one.
It is.
And I don't like this divine right that people seem to think they have to. And I hear it from musicians as well. I was quite gobsmacked to hear it from a few musicians recently when I laughed at them saying, well, what the hell? You're just downloading a load of albums. I said, yeah, but if I like it, I'll buy it. And I'm thinking, that's bollocks. You're not going to buy it now. You've already heard it, God knows how many times. Or they say, well, yeah, but you know me, I've got loads of CDs. I think, yeah, but half of them are free as well. From record companies. Yeah. And just because you've got some albums doesn't really, qualify you to steal other ones. I feel really badly about it, because when you go to the cinema, and I've got a cinema card, so I go quite regularly, you always see this advert about do not film, it's illegal, or don't have illegally download movies, and they reinforce that whole concept with this massive prison door sound effects slamming at the end of the advert.
Yeah.
And so I think government just needs to legislate a little bit better in favour of the music industry before it's completely gone, because all the residential studios gone. Nobody can afford to do that anymore unless you're bloody Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
The government are even putting in, free studios, because they look at the TV and see that the masses love all the bollocks like The Voice and what have you. And so, even in our local universities and colleges, they've got people have got these free studios. So a lot of the local studios are closing down as well. So it's all starting the extinction of the music industry. From the ground up.
Well, I've
been in a niche. We're both in a niche market.
Yeah,
we're not, product of The Voice or Simon Cowell. And being niche obviously means it's going to be even harder.
Well,
but that's the challenge, isn't it?
Well, it is a challenge, and the thing is that two things. Firstly, if the amount of people on social media who say they buy all their music actually did, there wouldn't be a fucking problem. It's just that people on social media tend, people are the people they like to project through social media, and the amount of times you hear the old humble brag, "Oh, I buy all my music, and you just think, well, I'm not saying everybody is full of shit on the internet, but I'd say a good percentage of people who say that are doing exactly that. They're just fucking saying it.
I found myself the other day I was picked up a Doom album, and I was thinking, God, I could get that for £2 cheaper on Amazon, and then I literally had to slap myself in the face and go, look, you're talking. This is an independent record store, and you're moaning about the lack of those.
Yeah.
Pay the extra £2, call it a present to them. I mean,
no, absolutely, and to go back on what you were saying about crowd surfing as well. I mean, it's like that's, to me, that is you guys basically saying, well, look, we'd like to do this, but it's we have to, it costs to make money. I mean, it costs money to make music.
Yeah,
also,
and also those sort of things, the record companies and managers and stuff like that, and people look at the business models and that they shy away from it. They think, that's not really in our remit.
Yeah.
So if you want to be experimental, you've got to go out and do it yourself.
Yeah, and also the thing is, you're offering people who want to be to engage in a project from the ground up. They get something for their money, and if it's of interest, great, do it. And if it's not. But no one's crowd surfing to for the next fucking swimming pool.
No, exactly. And even if they were, who gives a fuck?
yeah, you either contribute or you don't.
Why does it matter at the end of the day? Because, like you say, you buy it or you don't buy it. You don't haggle over food in the supermarket and then question who's getting the money out of it at the end of the day.
No, not at all. And I just think, well, there still seems to be a slightly outdated view of people in bands within certain circles, where people do seem to think that, if you're in a band, you are naturally minted for some reason.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was the thing, is that was never the case. That was never ever the case. We're all only fucking one album away from getting dropped.
Exactly.
It's just kind of bizarre that is.
And everybody in the world's entitled to make their own way in life.
Yes, well, we'd like to think so. But ultimately, you've just got to be more and more creative these days. Do you get heavily involved in the merch and what you put out?
Absolutely, every facet of the band is, it's held under a microscope.
Yeah,
be it artwork, videos, lyrics. Just the way the band's portrayed. Vehicles that take us, the theoretical vehicles. I didn't actually mean a fucking bus, but yeah, we do look into that as well.
Yeah, but it has to be done, doesn't it? I mean, more than ever, you've got to be all over every aspect. And have you got any interesting ways with any sort of interesting bits of merch, or is it still mainly just flat out shirts?
We did a couple of bobble heads at one point. We've done some, like underwear and things like that. But like I say, new management, and they're very sort of like, well, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. We're going to keep it. Even going out on this tour to just 3 designs and a hoodie, as opposed to we would have gone out with probably 5 or 6. So they're looking at the bigger picture.
Yes.
But that's just a remodelling of the band. Somebody else coming in, and because our previous manager, she'd been managing us since '98.
Oh wow!
And retired. So it's it feels like getting married again.
Yeah.
To a man.
Well, anything goes, love. Anything goes. But I'm exactly the same. It sounds like your new management have gone exactly, well, we learned the hard way, which is too much choice, it's a bad thing. You have to give people, say, right, okay, that
otherwise you're just going to end up with thousands of boxes of unwanted t-shirts you've got to pay for.
Well, I've got a room in my house dedicated to that. Absolutely. And unfortunately, it is the case. So I thought it'd be a great idea to have loads of choice. And then what you find out is that, of those 5 shirts, 2 of them were really popular. And then that room in the house contains the other 3 designs. Yeah, no, I speak as somebody with two massive boxfuls of 2015 tour t-shirts, and that's the worst when you got shirts with fucking dates on the back, and it's just like, oh god, right, what are we going to do with these? Jumble, it's just ridiculous. But such is life. So how long have you got? How long have you got off now? You're off the whole of Christmas before heading out in Europe.
Yeah, well, it's not really off as such. It's just not playing gigs.
Right.
I mean, like I say, I've got a couple with my other band, Devilment. But
yes.
Yeah, the full world tour starts January the 15th, goes right through till the end of May, beginning of June. We're only doing a handful of summer festivals next year because we're going to do the winter ones, wherever they are, and then reserve 2019 for all the summer festivals. Otherwise, we'll be sitting on our arse for that year. And then, so I presume, between now and then, to start thinking about the next record.
So you're pretty much kind of mapping out up to 2019 right now then, and just kind of sort of slotting things in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, I mean, it's project management, isn't it? A lot of being in a band.
Well, yeah, I mean, it just makes sense as well to know where you are, and especially as our band. Everybody, like I say, being from different parts of the world, and like our guitarist, he's a tutor as well, so he's got to fit that around his college lecturing and
right.
Lecturing, not leching. But I'm sure he does plenty of that as well. And yeah, you get better placements as well, and you can drive it. People know where you are. You can, it's a business at the end of the day as well. Obviously, you've got to keep one eye on it being a business model.
Yeah.
But primarily, it's all about the music. But you've got to be clever with it as well. You really have. I mean, because it is, unless you want to make it a hobby, then it's a hobby. But it's not. It's a full-time job. And what pisses me off is when people say, like as if it's a crime to have it as a job and to be successful in that job. Do you know what I mean? And I hang around with a lot of people. A lot of my friends got really good jobs. They're in the metal, but they've got great jobs.
Yeah. And
nobody has a go at them because they're driving around in a Jaguar or something because they've got a great job and they work hard at it. And at the same time, nobody goes into their offices and nicks all their stuff.
Well, the thing is that invariably, the view from the ground is that wow, it's awesome being in a band, because you go to a gig and you see the band and you go, it must be awesome to do that every night, and it is. But there's also the old cliche of the other 23 hours in the day. And and also the impact on your body and your brain of doing that every night as well. I mean...
tell me about it. Here's me with bloody slip disc or whatever it is.
Yeah, slip disc. Well, we've started with rotator cuff. It's slip disc. By the end...
we don't know yet. I've got to go down to the... I've got the hospital appointment about 5.
Oh, really?
That's really what it is. It just seems to be moving everywhere.
Oh, fucking hell, that sounds horrible.
Last time that happened, it was in Russia, and they managed to get me, like, an ex-military type. It was just massive. And it literally just, like, rolled me up like a crumpled bit of paper, and then I was fine after that.
Wow, that sounds like an experience.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was.
Well, you've done well to get a hospital appointment so bloody quickly, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So you, where is home for you then? You're in Ipswich.
I am indeed, yeah.
Right. I mean, it's quite. Have you always been based in Ipswich? Apologies for my ignorance.
Well, thereabouts. I lived in villages, sort of in and around. But yeah, always. I like this part of the country. And it's busy enough, but more importantly, quiet enough. I mean, I spend all my time in major cities. Yeah. The last thing I want to be in when I get home is in another major city.
Yeah, no, I can understand that, and it's a lovely part of the world. I've played Ipswich and Norwich, which I'm very aware of the rivalry, so I'm not putting the two together. But yeah, I've done a fair amount of comedy shows in that area of the country, Suffolk and Norfolk, and it's gorgeous. It's like, as you say, it's just they're not cities. They're all kind of like, you can walk from one side of town to the other, as it were.
Yeah, we had a great scene here at one point as well, back in the day with the grindcore. This is the home of Extreme Noise Terror and Screaming Holocaust and John Peel. So that's where Cradle came from as well.
Ah, right. You've mentioned a name there from my past as well, John Peel. I mean, he played a role in our career very early on. And he did for you guys as well, didn't he?
Well, he liked our T-shirts. He'd never really been a metal fan as such, but yeah, he did get behind the band. He liked the T-shirts. He liked the whole image thing. He liked the rebelliousness of it. He liked the punky bits, but he's definitely not a metal. Well, he wasn't a metal fan.
No. I bumped into him at a DRI Napalm Death gig in Nottingham Garage in fucking 1986, I think.
Yeah, he'd regularly. Well, he first got into hardcore via the Stupids, who were another Ipswich band. I'm actually going to go and see them in a few weeks' time.
You're joking! I mentioned them. I mentioned them on last month's podcast, and I've had loads of people going, "Fucking hell, the Stupids! I remember them."
Yeah. They played. I've seen them a couple of times this year. They're doing a set up in London near my sister's. We're both going to go.
Whereabouts is that?
They were his entry into the hardcore thing.
Right. Okay. So
and he'd regularly turn up at shows round here with his family in tow, whether they wanted to be with him or not.
Yeah, definitely no family with him on the night I saw him. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit hardcore for the fam, but it was just a really, really nice guy. Did you ever get to meet him?
Yeah, I've met him. I think I spoke to him on the phone as well. I'm sure I've done an interview with him.
Yeah, no, he was just such a lovely guy, and as you were saying, what a scene to be around back in the day. I mean, that's just like, groundbreaking band after groundbreaking band.
Yeah, absolutely. It was literally. Well, I think grindcore is a product of learning to play metal. Only because it was all, Napalm, Carcass, Bolt Fire, a little bit with Deviated Instinct, I guess. They became successful when they, truly started embracing the sort of metal side of things.
Yeah. And of course you guys came along, and I mean, would you? I mean, you're basically fucking pioneers of a number of styles that have gone on to become genres all of their own. I mean, Well, I would say that we were actually arguably nicking stuff. We were cherry picked. We came from a soundtrack. We liked soundtracks, so we put soundtracks and the first wave of black metal that we grew up on, which is the Celtic Frost, the Bathories. Yeah.
Early Destructions, together with thrash and grindcore, and that also burgeoning, gothic doom scene, which was Paradise Lost, Anathema, My Dying Bride, that sort of thing. We cherry-picked, chose the bits we liked out of each of them, and that became Cradle of Filth. So we weren't wholly original. We just packaged it nicely.
That's a very honest admission. I'd have gone with we are definitely responsible for creating all those genres.
Well, we might have accidentally built one along the way or whatever, but yeah, I think it's for most bands. You become a hybrid. Unless of course you are an originator. But look how many people Sabbath worship still nowadays.
Yeah, and it's always weird for me as well when people say either yours, given like you were saying earlier about people saying that I was only X amount of years old when I got your first album or whatever. So it always freaks me out when people come up and say my first ever live gig was going to see you lot, or the first album I ever bought was one of yours. To this day, I always see that as kind of like an amazing place, an amazing part to play in someone's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do hear it quite often.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does, because it reminds me of who I was influenced by.
Yeah.
You know, I still get goosebumps if I think of King Diamond, or if I get to speak to him, or I get to meet someone else that I grew up on.
Yeah.
I get terribly nervous, and I remember how that affected me at the time.
Yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. It's and to think somebody holds you in that esteem is quite
exactly. Because I can remember it myself, just being, you know, it totally colours your upbringing.
Yeah, yeah, and you know, when you meet people who've been major influences, it's like, I'm the same as you. I'm unfortunately had a bad experience with meeting one of my heroes the other week, who turned out to be a complete dick.
No, I've had that as well. Yeah, I've had that as well.
Well, all right. Are we going to name names then? I will if you will.
Best not. I don't want to ruin his legacy.
Well, do you know what?
People know who he is anyway, because it went through the Kerangs and the Metal Hammers back in the day.
Oh, really? Right.
It got resolved. It got resolved. It all just got a bit messy and that. But yeah, maybe sometimes you just catch people on a bad day.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I had my run in and I got messages from a few people, because I kept it quiet. I didn't say who it was, but a few people messaged me and said, like, you know, who is it? And when I said who it was, they were like, oh no, I had the same experience. It wasn't a bad day. He's just a dick. And when I've switched the recording equipment off, I'll tell you who it was.
Okay, cool. I look forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing we love more than a bit of gossip, is there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially in these salacious times that we live in.
Yeah.
But
just know who to avoid.
Well, yeah, absolutely, yeah, and so I presume you're also getting fans bringing their kids as well to their first Cradle show.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's another whole generation.
Yeah, and that's an absolute mindfuck when that happens. For me, I just think, you know,
it is. Yeah. But it's a mindfuck also when people, you know, remind you of how long the band's been going, because it doesn't. Even though I did say that it's like dog years and it seems like gone on forever, when you actually think back to it, you think, God, yeah, that doesn't seem that long ago.
Yeah,
from the, you know, like the turn of the century. It's like 17 years ago now, but it doesn't seem that long. I've got, you know, quite a clear recollection of things that happened then. It does seem like only yesterday, which is worrying.
Yeah, it is. It does make you live in the present a little bit more as well, though.
Yeah, well, you do that more the older you get, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but are you finding the band something that is actually more enjoyable with a little bit of age? And, you know, everybody.
Yeah, I think the maxim is, when you get older, it's not what you want to get; it's what you want to keep hold of. And you start realising, you know, the older you get, that I think Maiden said it quite well in that song. What's it called?
Wasted Years.
Oh, never mind. Maybe wrong analogy, but yeah, I think living and having experience and having the chance that you haven't blown it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To learn by your mistakes. I think the older you get, the more perceptive you are of that. And not only the mistakes, but the good times as well, and know that you're on a good thing. We're very lucky that, you know, our career, it's had it's mostly ups, but it's had a few downs, and we're just, you know, very grateful that we're still in a very good, enviable position, and we're very aware of that. You know, proud of it and respectful of it, and it's cool because, you know, just being on this tour got to meet a lot of fans, and I think they're appreciative of the fact that you get to talk to them and meet them, and they realise, you know, you're quite down to earth. Well, hopefully they do.
Yeah. Do you do meet and greets?
Sometimes, yeah. We didn't on this tour. But yeah, we do. But we do get out there after the show.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was just wondering whether it was, whether it was more a thing of, well, it's another income stream, which, let's face it, as many income streams as possible is good. But
America generally, I think, is where you do that kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I suppose. It's. I guess there's something about doing it in your own country that just doesn't kind of feel right, isn't there?
Well, I just don't think they're sort of... Yeah, it does, actually, to be fair, but I just don't think they're catered for it. Most of the venues are not catered for actually giving you any food in Britain either. It's all buy-out. They're really lazy.
Yeah, that's it is strange how as soon as you go over into Europe, the way that you are viewed and the way you're dealt with by venues seems to be that much more appreciative.
I just think it's the way. It's just the way Britain's set up, isn't it?
Yeah, it's do you know this conversation is heading towards Brexit, isn't it?
And inevitably, and
yeah.
I'm sick of it.
Yeah, me too.
Couldn't care less anymore.
No, I know exactly what you mean. I'm just kind of like, oh, for fuck's sake, can we just stop talking about it?
Somebody was actually asking whether the concept of the album was about Brexit. However, well,
I mean,
inevitably everything is now.
But that is living proof that Brexit can be attached to just about anything going on in this country at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
From I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here to Cradle of Filth's last album, there may be some sort of Brexit leaning in there. Fucking hell, that's mad. Well, look, Dani, I'm gonna keep you on the line because I'll tell you about my experience with the with my so-called hero. But for now, look, thank you very much. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, cheers, thank you.
Not at all. And there you go. That was my chat with Dani, because you just listened to it. I hope you enjoyed that. And like I said, what a top dude. And it kind of struck me as well that he seemed sort of reluctant to accept some of the sort of praise that I was giving him, and was very, very keen to make sure that every other band that was around at the time got their fair shake and that they were part of a scene. And really refreshing. Normally people are only too quick to own their own glory. But Dani seemed very, very keen to deflect it, which was really does make a change, especially frontmen, because I'd be like, yep, that was us. Yep, we created a genre. That was us. We did that. Really, I just really enjoyed it. And I'm not doing this to kind of advertise, but there's some stuff on the section that I've done for the Patreon part of the podcast, which is interesting and revealing, all on its own. So there you go. That was my little advert. Patreon, I am on Patreon. Yeah, I did that little song. Patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. Patreon/Howard Smith. At patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. I did that little song at the end of the podcast last month, and no one commented on it. I was fully that's if anybody could be bothered to listen. I mean, it's only about 5 seconds after the end of the podcast, but I was expecting to get shit from people for doing that. But no, everybody, you were all very nice, so thank you for that. Of course, something that I haven't mentioned is the passing of Malcolm Young. I mean, I'm of an age, 47, proud of it, not a problem, every day above ground. Yep, you're not going to get me moaning on about my age. So, yeah, I mean, AC/DC were a gateway band for a load of people my age. Rock and Roll Ain't Noise Pollution, I heard the single, loved it. And Back in Black, what an album. I mean, every gig that I went to, probably throughout my teens, Back in Black is coming through the stereo, for fuck's sake. Honestly, how fucking old am I? 47, not 87. It's coming through the... actually, interesting diversion, tangent fans. Looks like my Technics amp is packing up. And that amp has been with me as long as I was in Acid Rain. The first time. It has been with me all those years. And I'm really gutted that it appears to be on its way out. I don't know, it's almost like the passing of a friend, you know? I feel like, I really do feel like, rather than sort of like, you know, tipping it or anything, I should probably bury it in the garden and give it a little burial and a headstone. It means that much to me. And I'm sure, you know, any of you out there with, hey, get in touch, those of you with really old stereo gear in the house and hi-fi gear, get in touch and tell me how old yours is and if it survived, and if it hasn't, what you did when you got rid of it. Did you just get rid of it? Did you pass it on? Did you try and get it repaired? Please text me on What a Load of Shit. It's just the absolute fucking... This is a proper tangent now, but I'm going off about fucking... I'm sick and tired of listening to programmes, whether it is on the radio, whether it's on a podcast, whether it's a live podcast, whatever it is, watching a TV programme. Oh, please do get in touch with your opinions. No! Fucking don't! You just have to sit there and listen to numbskulls' opinions being read out. It's like, it's bad enough if you go to a gig or you're at the pub and you overhear people talking utter shit and you just think, oh, please, mate, fucking drop dead now. It's people like you that are weighing the planet down. And then you sit down in the privacy of your own home to watch something and you have to listen to the same numbskulls that you fucking hate listening to out there in the world. They're getting their opinions read out. They're getting, well, I don't understand why we're doing this. Look, I've been going to football for 40 years, right? And I don't get why players can't just stick the ball in the back of the net. I mean, it's not that difficult, is it, eh? I mean, you've got all these foreign players coming over on bloody ridiculous money, but they are good, I have to say. That, you know, that Di Canio, he was one of our best ever players. But what the bloody... We moved to a new stadium, I can't get me pie and mash. People are parking in people's gardens, there's fights, there's racism. Although, I've got to be honest, I don't mind a bit of racism. I probably shouldn't say that. But bloody hell, why can't we... Fuck off. Seriously, that's a phone-in show, really, isn't it? That's probably the longest text in the fucking world. But you get my point. Why, you know, oh, please send in your opinions. No, even the news. You're watching the news. Watching the fucking news. And they're saying, send in your opinion. No, the news should be the news. It should just be the news. The facts. What's happening today? I don't want to know what fucking Suzanne from fucking Edinburgh's got to say about it. I don't want to know what fucking Keith from Milton Keynes' opinion is on the fucking royal wedding. I couldn't give a shit. I couldn't give a shit about the royal wedding. Never mind Keith's opinion from Milton Keynes about the wedding I don't fucking care about. Fucking tangent. Big old tangent. Started out being about my fucking amp on my stereo. But it started out about Malcolm Young. Sorry, Malcolm. Sorry to go off on a tangent like that. The point I'm making is... have I even got a point? I guess the point is that Malcolm Young's passing is incredibly sad because he was he formed the band with Angus, his brother, a major songwriter, some of the greatest riffs of all time. A lot of people say, AC/DC aren't metal. Well, do you know what? No, they probably weren't. And do you know what? It's also okay to like bands that aren't metal. But yeah, I said it. Yeah, exactly. Deal with it, bitches. But it's a tragic loss. I know he hadn't been in the band for a while, and AC/DC might not have been the greatest band in the world for a while, but just seriously, you know what I'm going to do when I'm finished this podcast? I've got to go off and do a gig. And do you know what I'm going to play on the way to my gig? I'm going to dig my AC/DC Back in Black CD out. I'm going to put that in the car, and I am going to play it loud in memory of Malcolm. Peace, brother. let's just go straight into another interview, shall we? Yes, why not? So this next interview it was a real weird one because I haven't seen Stilly, friend of the show, Stilly Papps, the younger brother of Kev, who used to be in Acid Rain. But Stilly, as you guys know him, is Roadie to the stars. He has worked with everybody. I think he lifts off a few in this. I mean, he's worked with. He currently works with Stereophonics. He's just done the whole world tour with Billy Talent, but he did all Death back in the day. He worked with Gene, tons, and he's been over for a couple of times in the space of a couple of weeks, which has been great to see him. And we were sat chatting, and I was stuck for another guest on the podcast, and I said to him, I was stuck for another guest on the podcast, and then I thought, fuck it, I'm going to interview you, and then just started interviewing him. So yeah, no expense spared. But here he is for his second time on the podcast, and there's some interesting stuff in this, real behind the scenes stuff that I found really interesting, and I'm sure you guys will too. So for the second time on the podcast, the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, from behind the scenes, Roadie to the stars, it is Stilly Papps. So I've got Stilly round my house at the moment.
Again.
Again. And I was thinking, who should I... I was actually having a conversation with him 5 minutes ago about who else can I get on the podcast this week, for this month. And we were talking about it, and I just went to make him a cup of tea and realised, bloody hell, I've got the solution sitting right in front of me.
And he still hasn't made my tea.
Yeah, I still haven't made him his tea either. So, sorry about that. I tell you what, this is, you can earn your tea. I'll make you a brew. Listen to that, I've got the kettle boiling in the background just to fucking fuck with you.
There you go.
We were talking earlier, and I thought this might be interesting. We were talking earlier about a big metal band who shall remain nameless, but you were saying are cutting back on what they're paying crew now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, bands have got to make money as well and save money where they can. But yeah, if you've been, especially if you've been working with a band for a while.
And what would you say a while is?
Well, even if you'd say.
We know some people who are involved in
3 years, because if you say 3 years, I mean, you can say that's 3 or 4 years. You can say that's like two album cycles. But
we're also talking about somebody that you know that you mentioned had been working with the band for probably over 10 years.
Well, yeah, but
and has been asked to
even more reason, and
been asked to take basically a 50% PDs cut.
Well, I mean, different bands do different things: cutting PDs, sharing rooms, cutting wages, half pay on days off, kind of thing. That kind of thing. If you've been with a band for a while, and you kind of class them as good friends, as you do with most bands that you work for. If you work for them for a while, they become your friends.
Yeah. And this is what happens when you mix business with friends.
Well, yeah, but so if you've been with them for a while, it's a bit rude to ask for these.
Yeah, because they're not going to be taking any. They're not going to suddenly start sharing rooms.
Well, that's it.
And you're talking about grown men here who have got to put food on the table.
That's what I was going to say. When you're kids, then not kids, but when you're younger, and it's your first tours, everyone should go through that.
Wait, did we ever pay you?
You did, you did, but you didn't pay me for your main tour.
Really?
Yeah, 900 quid.
Oh, did you? Oh, you never got.
Never got paid.
You never got paid.
No.
Fuck.
So
never mind.
Kevin Nixon, if you're listening. But yeah, so that's it. If it's one of your first tours, then you accept that. I did, sleeping in vans, travelling sitting on top of the gear, all that kind of thing. You got to pay your dues, but like I say, if you're working for a band and the band is, doing good business, I don't know what these bands make, but if you're doing the amount of gigs and stuff and the amount of touring that they're doing, they can't. Well, they can, but it's just very rude of them to say, "Oh, this time round, chaps, you're sharing rooms, you're getting half this, half that, blah blah blah." And then
and just assuming everyone's going to go along with it, which from what you've said, they haven't.
Well, yeah, a lot of.
So 2 people have walked away from this particular band.
Yeah.
And one of them's been working with that band for what, 10 years, if not more.
Yeah. Well, I think both of them.
Really?
Both the 2 that I know. Yeah.
So in an attempt to cut wages, presumably they're going to now get a younger crew, people who can, like you just said, on their way up, paying their dues.
Yeah.
And to have this band on their CV would be quite impressive.
Yeah, but which is good for the young kid. But I think it's just like I say, you make this bond with the bands that you're working with, and
because you're all in it together, aren't you? You're out on the road,
and they all they always ask for your back, and that's where the loyalty thing comes along, because I'll go back and work for whatever band because they're great bunch, and I'm looked after. And then all of a sudden to say, okay, well, they want me to go on tour with a great band, but now they're asking me to share rooms, take a wage cut. It's just not on.
Well, the thing is, it's kind of like, well, and it's like, well, as good a friends as you may be, and as much, you might have a really good crack on the road, but you can't take that home and pay the fucking mortgage with it, can you?
Yeah. If you
go back to your missus and go, I know I've brought home less money, but I had a really good time.
If you've got missus and kids and whatever,
which you have,
which I do, you got to look elsewhere, but it's kind of sad in a way that you have to say, well, sorry, I'm going to go and work for this band, never worked for them before, might not like their music, we were saying before, the music is kind of impartial, really. You just do it for the work, for the gig. But if you have been working for a band and you're into the music as well,
like Billy Talent, for instance,
this is your cup of tea, yeah. If it's your cup of tea, and then for whatever reason you have to turn down a tour, you're always gutted by it, because I don't want to go and work for, Kylie Minogue. Well, I would actually, but you know what I mean. To go and work for someone new is always.
But it's a risk, isn't it? It's an element of risk.
But if they're offering to keep you in the custom, what you're used to, the surroundings you're used to, then you will take it.
Well, the thing is, as well, is it's being on the road is no easy job, is it?
No, well, and because like we were saying, we're all getting older and fatter. It takes it out on you more, and nowadays you've got more things back at home to worry about. Family,
but also it is
bills and all that.
But also it is a physical job. I mean, it's long hours. It's loading in. It's setting up. It's being on the money for the whole gig. Then it's loading out. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot more work than the band put in. I can vouch for that.
I don't know if you've seen on Facebook and all that. There's these. It's like awareness groups of aging roadies that are losing their marbles and stuff, and getting depression and suicidal and
fucking hell, no, I haven't seen it.
And there's actual groups and stuff, counselling and whatever you want to call it. And I can kind of see it, because people our age, you finish a tour, you don't know what's coming up next, and you've got all these bills to pay and whatever in normal life, and you just can't.
Well, it's a recipe for anxiety, isn't it?
It's just a big head fuck,
Yeah. Well, you're about to go out with Stereophonics in the next couple of days, and it sounds lovely, doesn't it? You're going to the States for a week, and LA and San Francisco doing the James Corden show and stuff like that. And people listening to this will think, fucking hell, that's awesome. But that is the first proper work you've had since, what, August?
Yeah. Well, since I finished Billy Talent and the Leeds Festival was the last gig.
Right. Back to Leeds, eh?
Finished in Yorkshire.
Yeah. Did your mum and dad come?
No, they could hear it from the garden, though.
Brilliant.
I was chucking it down. They didn't bother coming.
Right.
But, yeah, so...
I haven't been to Leeds for years. Has it got a lot bigger? Because I went the year Metallica did it. I say the year Metallica did it. The St Anger year Metallica.
Well, I've never been... Well, I went one year, I think it was... But no, it wasn't at that site. It was at Bramham Park.
Oh, it's not there anymore then? It's not at Bramham Park?
It might be. I went before it where it is now.
Oh, right, okay.
With my ex-missus one year. That's the only time I've been as a punter. So
yeah.
Every other time it's been in the same location, but they move it around the site a bit.
Yeah.
Stages in different places and stuff. This year I was on the, what was it called? The pit stage.
Right, okay.
So it's just a tent somewhere in the field.
Yeah.
Because it's raining, so you don't go anywhere. If you want to stay kind of clean, I just stayed on stage all day.
Yeah.
Backwards and forwards.
Was Billy Talent headlining?
Yeah. Yeah, headline that. Were they? Yes.
That must have been great if it was pissing down, because that's the... I mean, well, as you know, we played Amplified Festival and we played the beer tent.
It's a Billy Talent gig. It rains at every gig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we bring it with us.
Oh, that's nice to know. That it's not a British band that are taking the rain everywhere. The Canadians are just as bad. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that, like, over the years, actually, like as we were saying, the music that the band play that you might be working for becomes less and less important. Because the weird thing is, when you start out, I mean, you started out with us, but it was like, you were literally, it was thrash, hardcore, death for what, 10 years?
Yeah, well, let me think.
You started with us in 88.
Yeah. Well,
technically, first gig was in 87.
My first, so I started with you guys, but my first actual paying, well... No,
you tricky fucker. All right, there's only the one tour we didn't pay you for.
The first band that I worked for that wasn't you, basically, was Dark Angel. Right,
okay, yeah, worked for Gene.
Yeah, and did all their European tours whenever they came over. And then they finished. Gene was in Death, so pretty soon after that. So when he used to come over, he used to ask for me again. So I did a lot of the Death tours.
Which ones did you do? So Gene came in on Human. Was it Human? He came in? No.
Did he do the tour? I can't. He did one tour where he brought his American tech Steve over.
Bastard.
Well, he brought him over on the Dark Angel tour, but just for a party, just for a jolly.
Right,
it didn't work, but he was. Gene had his American drum tech there and his European drum tech.
Did the two of you find yourself running into each other?
He wasn't working. He was just there to drink, smoke, whatever.
Bloody hell! That's a sign of the times. That people taking crew with them just to have a laugh.
I don't know if Gene paid for him, but he just came over and had a holiday. But it was on tour.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But I worked. I don't know how long it was, but not all of them, but.
Well, you worked with Carcass, I remember.
I got got lumped in with all the earache bands. Just had one tour after another. It didn't really stop. Entombed, Carcass, Cathedral, Brutal Truth, bits of Napalm. Entombed, did I say Entombed?
Yeah, you did say Entombed, yeah.
God's a Grind tour, there was like 4 bands. So you get to...
I remember you working for Entombed. We
did quite a bit with
we had a spliff in the back of the Astoria. Me, you, Jodie, and one of Entombed.
Yeah.
I can't remember who. It might have been the singer. Because they're always the friendliest, most outgoing members of bands, aren't they, Stilly? Well, we're still mates after all these years.
If you don't make me a tea.
Oh shit! Yeah, well, you know, the brew is on the way. It's
brewing.
Yeah, it is brewing.
Can I like this then?
No, not in here. Yeah. So you were like Mr. fucking hardcore drum roadie, weren't you?
Yeah.
You know, just the go-to man.
Well, I don't know really. I mean, I still know people that around at the time that were doing the same thing, but I don't think there was many. It wasn't really seen as a job option back then.
Yeah.
Well, just to do that, just to be a roadie and nothing else.
Well, I remember you used to work at that warehouse in Wetherby, didn't you?
I worked at a warehouse for a bit, but my boss would just let me go and do whatever gigs you had.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you guys finished and I started working with Dark Angel, that was my first kind of paying gig, apart from the warehouse. So I had to tell the warehouse, look, this is kind of going to be a big thing,
Yes.
I can't ask you, because he was great, my boss. He would just say, yeah, go and do it. It doesn't matter. Go and do the gigs, because he was a musician anyway. So
right,
it kind of.
But you can't turn around and say I'm going to be away for 6 weeks.
He couldn't sort of brush that under the carpet.
Yeah.
So knocked that on the head, and it was one tour after another. I'd get home from one tour, I wouldn't have to unpack my bag.
Yeah.
Be at home for a couple of days, a week at the most. A lot of the time. Well,
but it's weird because to hear that you've got so much experience and yet you haven't worked since August, and yet everyone says there's more bands on tour now than there ever has been. But you're further up the food chain, aren't you? You're not. I mean, you could be out working all the time, but you wouldn't necessarily be earning what you're worth, or B, what you need to earn.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say what I'm worth, because I wouldn't know. I get asked these questions, when you do get job offers. If someone calls, we need a drum tech or backline tech, what do you get? What's your daily rate? I'm just like, I don't know, because
make me an offer.
You tell me what you can afford.
Yeah, and I'll tell you if I can afford to do it.
I don't want to say, I want this amount. That's what I've been getting for example. Stereophonics, who, as you can imagine, pay a decent wage.
But if it's some band coming up on,
so I'm not going to say I want this amount, because they'll just go, okay. Well, they might not. Hopefully, they won't. And they'll just
But I think that's.
So I always say to them, tell me what's in your budget.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just going to say that's what's fair, because then you can say yes or no.
And obviously, you got to know what you're getting involved in. Is it a van tour?
Yeah.
Let's say if I was 25 again, I probably wouldn't be asking the question, is it a van? Do I have my own room? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. It's like, it's a van, you're sharing rooms.
When you're my age, those are the kind of things you ask first. Are we in a splitter van?
Well, you're same age as me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
47.
27, yeah.
Can I do that?
Well, yeah, I mean...
So, but yeah, I hate having to price myself. But yeah, now I do have to think, of paying for the family, paying for the house, paying for the kids, paying for all the bills that we never had when we were youngsters living at a parent's house.
Well, absolutely. Well, you never had any expenses living at home, did you? And it's just like you say, coming home, which also means that you work, you're on the road, you don't really, PDs, per diems, there should explain, that's money that you get basically from the band per day to sort of live on. So I remember...
I suppose it is the band's money, but...
Yeah, it's spending money.
Yeah, it's part of the tour budget, I suppose.
Yeah. So you get your PDs during the day, but you're also getting a daily wage as well. Mm. And when you're on the road, you don't really get that many opportunities to spend money, other than on service stations and shit like that. So
it's a good way of saving money when you're on tour.
I was going to say, because you come home. In those old days, you come home, you've got no overheads, you come home, you bank nearly all of the money that you've earned, and then you're back out on the road again.
Yeah, exactly.
You should be fucking retired, mate.
Well, that's what, that's how I've got a house now, because I made all that extra. I did pay my tax. I fucking owned up.
Paid up.
Became legit and paid them a fine. And
oh, did you get a fine?
yeah.
Because you hadn't paid for...
I didn't pay tax for 14 years.
Yeah, but hang on, you were out of the country for more than 50% of the time, weren't you?
You can go into it all, but... And probably...
Was it a fair old whack, then?
Yeah.
Because you had to pay your tax and a fine on top.
Yeah. Well, they didn't what's the word? Penalise me too heavily.
Right.
So,
they tend not to if you come forward.
Well, that's it, but because I came clean, obviously they're looking in the books, and whose name's next to my name?
Oh, would it be Kevin?
So I think they didn't collar him or anything, but he had to own up as well.
Right, okay.
Cheers, Stilly.
Oh, right. So Kev's favoured absolutely atrocious communication skills, as in you never hear from him, like, unless you call.
Unless
I'm saying that like on both. I'm saying that on both of our behalves. Yeah. All of a sudden, I would imagine he was. He was willing to talk. Finding out that you you'd indirectly dobbed him into to HMRC.
I've stitched you up, my son.
That's fucking awesome. As you know, I'm going to be doing my spoken word thing later in the year, and I'm going to hopefully be doing a few of them up and down the country. And
you're not coming to Ulish, are you? I
don't think so. No. That's where Stilly lives, by the way, in Germany. In case you're wondering what the fuck that is, what a Ulish is. And I'm obviously going to be saying a few stories from that tour with Nuclear Assault, Dark Angel, and Candlemass. Have you ever been involved?
It'll be a long show, won't it?
It's 2 hours, yeah. Have you ever been involved in anything as
quite like that tour?
Quite like that tour. You've beaten me to it, yeah. Basically, yeah.
Let me think.
Because I don't want to say too much on here, but needless to say, there was all sorts going on. People ended up in jail, you name it.
No, probably not. No, I mean, we were talking last week, weren't we? The amount of stuff that went on, not just on that tour, but in that time. Yeah. That year.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff in there that...
Well, basically,
I don't know. Maybe it's because the age thing again.
But again,
because we were teens and
didn't give a shit.
Early 20s, we just maybe bands still do that these days.
So we went abroad and behaved like stupid teenagers do when they get pissed in their own country, but we did it in Germany, and other people ended up paying the price.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
I've never.
But funnily enough, I think if you remember as well, the 3 major tours...
I don't think I've ever worked for a band where a band member's been arrested.
Other than that tour, yeah.
Kept in prison for weeks and weeks.
It's funny now. It fucking... Yeah. Also, I was thinking, if you think... We did 3 major tours. We did the Nuclear Assault, Can You Survive Brain Death? Mm-hmm. We did that tour with Nuclear Assault, Dark Angel, Candlemass in Europe, and we did the Obnoxious tour. Yeah. Now, in between, we did a broken up tour with Exodus.
Yeah. Well, it's UK.
Which had a European break in the middle. So we did the UK dates, then they went to Europe and then came back and we did more UK dates.
Right, yeah.
But I was thinking, those major tours, Nuclear Assault, Can You Survive Brain Death, Gaz hands in his notice and disappears at the end, on the last UK date, with still 4 European gigs to play. That tour in Europe ended up with Gons from Dark Angel in jail for weeks, and all sorts of shit kicking off. Drivers in hospital after a big mass brawl that was started by someone. And then the Obnoxious tour, and
which I think get paid for.
And Gaz left the band 2 dates before the end of it. Sorry, not Gaz, Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gaz has already left. He can't leave again. So 3 major tours, and there was always a fucking drama.
I got my bag nicked in Ireland.
You got your bag nicked in Ireland. I lost my voice here. We did the following night, Newcastle under Lyme, the 23rd, and then we had to pull Wolverhampton and Hull.
Didn't we go to...
We went to Walton Towers.
Walton Towers.
During the week, no fucker there. Everybody was like... initially, it was like, we're going to have to pull a couple of shows because Howard needs to rest his voice. And it was a bit of a downer. And I remember Ian going, but we could go to Walton Towers. And everyone was like, fucking awesome, nice one, Howard, nice one.
What was it Drogheda? Yeah, Swan Inn, where we had to build the stage, wasn't it?
Yeah, we walked in and it was being built, made of wood. By the way, we're looking at the big tour poster in the room at the moment.
That's why I've just got very loud.
We walked in and it was like building the stage, which Kev went through.
Yeah. Well, it was just chipboard, wasn't it?
But he was also trying the whole gig to go through the floor, wasn't he?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah. So red
Swan Inn, Drogheda.
Morecambe, home gig for DAM, who while they were on stage had their dressing room burgled and
so it would be
everything nicked at their home gig.
Sunday, the 8th of April,
we
were in Morecambe. I had to buy some clothes in Morecambe on a Sunday.
Oh, brilliant. Seaside town on a Sunday. I remember waking up to the news that Crystal Palace had beat Liverpool in the FA Cup semi-final. Because we ended up taking the piss out of the Liverpool crowd. Because the last thing Kev says to the crowd on the video of that gig is, oh, by the way, Crystal Palace.
I think I've got a DVD of the Wrexham gig.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we used these for backdrop, didn't we? Because you remember the stage is kind of angular.
I think I've seen it, actually. I think I've seen it, and I've very recently seen the Liverpool one. Which
you were saying.
It's not great quality.
I don't really remember.
But there was always something kicking off, wasn't there? But again, I think it's like you say, it's age. We were young and stupid, didn't give a shit. Yeah. I mean, the stuff that went on that tour, on that European tour.
Yeah, I think that is still... I've never heard, band stories or whatever. I mean, the only thing that kind of comes close is the old guitar tech for Stereophonics, Woof.
Great nickname.
Before I was working with a band, they were in France somewhere. I don't know if it was middle of the night or something, but they were all steaming drunk, and they got off the bus. The bus pulled over at the service station or something. Wolf got off, and he went to go. They thought he'd gone for a piss, as he did, just walk to the bush, nearest bush. But he just kept on walking, and he disappeared. And they lost him for like 3 days. And they got Interpol involved and stuff. And I think someone found him. Someone picked him up and he was walking along the motorway, just off his head. And apparently he walked somewhere into some commune or something in the middle of nowhere and took loads of drugs and probably got assaulted and blah blah blah. And then I think they just drove him to the motorway and left him out on the motorway, and he just walked until he found somebody
and ended up back on the tour.
Probably, I think so. But nothing quite as brutal as that tour.
Well, funnily enough, you reminded me then as well about the time that we left Kev at a service station.
There's plenty of leaving people behind.
Yeah. Leaving Kev behind was a cracker because he'd gone into the service station
in his leather jacket.
Pants and a leather jacket, nipped into the service station for a dump, but the bus driver had only stopped to fill the tank, and Kev didn't tell anybody that he was getting off.
Always put something on his seat.
And the first we knew was the coach driver's phone going off, and he went, "Oh, this
we
must
didn't
be..."
have mobile phones.
No, but he had a
big,
big car phone thing. And literally it was like the old style fucking receiver and everything. And he went, this must be important. This is head office ringing. So they rang up and he just goes,
Well,
yeah. All right, we'll turn round. And he put the phone down. He just looks and goes, your guitarist is at the last service station that we stopped at to refuel. And we hadn't noticed Kev was not there.
He had something like 10 pence in his pocket. So he rang Mum, got her out of bed or something.
Yeah.
And said they've left me, and she happened to have, I don't know, she probably went in the phone book and looked up Grayson's buses.
Yeah.
And got the phone number of the yard and called them and managed to get hold of the driver.
Yeah. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant.
Another Stereophonics tech that's not there anymore. We left him at Mount Rushmore.
Really? Nice place to get left, I suppose.
Same thing. He's kind of a hippie kind of guy who wear a cowboy hat and a pair of cut off denim shorts, you know, and
right.
that'll be it. And of course, we're in America, so the plan was to have an hour looking around Mount Rushmore, then we've got to go, kind of thing. Yeah. Early in the morning, and everyone that wanted to get out, you know, put something on the bus driver's seat, you know, put your laminate or your passport or something, so he knows. He's not here. Reg never said anything. So we stopped at Mount Rushmore. All these people got off, and the bus driver is waiting. I think the bus driver must have gone in for a piss or something, and as he'd gone in, Reg had got up and gone in to the shop or something, not told anybody.
Right.
So the party comes back, get on the bus, and we go. 4 hours later, we realise he's not there, because the driver's just driving. And it's kind of a travel day or whatever.
Yeah.
So no one really notices. You know, we're all sat in the lounge watching the movies. Anyone seen Reg? He's not up yet. No. Must have had a heavy night or something. You know, so you just carry on chatting and watching films and stuff. 4 hours later, someone checks his bunk and he's not in there. And his phone's there, and his cigarettes. He never leaves he's never without his cigarettes.
Yeah.
So you see his cigarette and you know that he must be he's bumming, you know, he's fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
And we left him there, 8 hours, because we'd driven 4 hours and we had to drive 4 hours back.
Fucking hell.
No money, nothing.
And was he there, still there?
Yeah, he was just sat outside the gift shop talking to an Indian guy.
Just been sat there for 8 hours, waiting for everybody to realise he wasn't there and come back.
Yeah. No money, didn't know who to call anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose that's all you can do, because you know they're going to find out at some point that you're not there.
Yeah.
So
you just hope it's sooner rather than later. Sooner than 8 hours, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we were probably doing a full travel day.
Yeah.
So if we'd have spotted it when we'd got to the hotel at the other end, 12 hours away or something, we'd have been fucked. Well, it'd probably been alright. He'd probably just got a flight back.
I was going to say, stick him on a plane or something.
But, well, I don't know, because he probably didn't.
What a bummer, though. That's basically 8 hours wasted.
Yeah.
8 hours, and you're back at Mount Rushmore again.
Yeah.
Was it night time by then?
Well, I didn't go because I think it was. We're going to be at Mount Rushmore at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. If you want to have a look, we've got an hour because we've got to go, kind of thing. I was just like, can't be arsed. I did the same for Niagara Falls as well.
Oh yeah, you uncultured bastard.
First time it was with Carcass. First time I was there. I was sat in the front of the van and asleep, and someone went, "We're at Niagara Falls." And I woke up and all I could see was mist from Niagara Falls. I was like, "Great." I went to sleep. Then I went for a walk round.
When you need your sleep, especially on the road, when you need your sleep, you need your sleep.
Mm.
It's got to be done. It's essential. Well, look, Stilly, thank you very much for that impromptu chat.
That's all right, mate.
It's
been a while.
It has, hasn't it? It has. This is your second time on the podcast, isn't it?
Yeah, part 2, mate.
Oh, was it? Oh, hang on. You were also with Joel from Music for Nations, weren't you? Because you asked him a couple of questions.
Ah, yes, that's right. Yeah,
so this is the hat trick, actually, I think.
There you go, yeah. But it's a second interview, though.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you very much, mate. I'll make you that cup of tea now.
Should do as well.
That's going to be the best line of one of my interviews ever. All right, I'll make you that cup of tea now. Should do as well. There's Stilly, and I genuinely, there's some really interesting stuff there, and I hope you enjoyed it. Just another angle of the music business covered for you there. And now just a little bit of a plug about next month. Next month will be, as is normal, the podcast will come out. It possibly will be in 2 parts because it will be the Christmas special, and I'm going to be speaking to various people about highlights of the year. I have got Andy Pilkington on so far. I have got Godless on so far from the Metal Sucks podcast. They're both done. I am speaking to Malcolm Dome next week. Friend of the show, Malcolm will be on. That'll be insightful and interesting as always. I've got a few other people lined up as well. So that's all going to be coming at you in December, folks. There'll also be look, there's just going to be a lot of stuff to get into, all right? It's going to be pretty bloody cool. So, what else have I got to talk to you about? I have got the remastered. I have obeyed my remaster. I have got the remaster of Master of Puppets. And I have to say, it's a cracker. It really is. It's for some reason I never thought of it as a particularly grungy album, but it just seems to sound cleaner in a good way. It's a fantastic job. Whoever has done, well, if I could be bothered to look at the fucking CD case. Oh, here it is. All right, no, that's not. That's just the slip cover. Hang on. Right, here we are. Master of Puppets, produced, mixed, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Right, okay, let's have a look. This is fascinating stuff, isn't it? Man reads CD booklet to get... Oh, fuck it, who cares? It's not in big letters, easily accessible, so I'm not fucking interested. It's a good job, okay? The remaster's a good job. I'm not about to spend 150 quid on mountains and piles of stuff. I just got the single CD, but it is a cracker, and it really taken me back. I played it quite a bit, and played it late at night, driving back from a gig, which was interesting. Well, it wasn't interesting that I was listening to it on the way back from a gig. It's just, I don't know, I was in a different mindset. I've been doing a lot of comedy recently, spending a lot of time in my car, and it was really cool to listen to. On Friday, I played a rugby club in Rugby. Hey, what more do you want? Next to a crematorium. Oh, honestly, my rock and roll lifestyle. Oh, don't you just want to be me, gigging in rugby at a rugby club next to a crematorium? But the long drive home, I actually managed Puppets twice, and I don't know. I just seem to be in an absolute. When you get a mindset, or maybe it's just me, but when you're in a mindset, and you've picked the right thing to listen to at the right time, and it just seems to strike a chord. And I just had loads of memories flooding back of around that time of meeting the band and meeting Cliff and. Meeting Cliff, James, and Kirk. Anyway, I didn't meet. Oh no, and Lars. I didn't. No, I didn't. I met Cliff, but I just got his autograph. I didn't really meet him, but I did get to give him an Acid Rain demo, which was really cool. I'm sure I've told all these stories before, but then just remember. I can still remember lying on my bed, listening to the album, reading the lyrics, going through it all the first few times I listened to it, And man, it really, really brought back the memories. It really did. In fact, just talking to you guys now about it is bringing back the memories as well. Anyhow, what can I say? Look, it's just been. It was really weird listening to it. It was really, really weird listening to it. Oh dear. Oh, dear me. It was just an absolute fucking a real trip down memory lane. So anyway, look, that's this me just jabbering now, isn't it? It really is. Well, that's what this podcast is. Let's face it. Let's be honest. What else was in the news? Sebastian Bach has come out and he's basically officially said that he could never kill himself. So it's not all good news, is it? Right, look, it's time for another interview. Now, this one, I will have probably trailed it on the... you will know who's on, but this is fellow bollocker of yours, Rob Davies, or Davis, I'm not quite sure. Rob and I, he sent a message basically saying that he wanted a hand with... sorting a certain situation out, but to be honest, you know what it is because I'll have put it in the fucking I'll have put it in the text that goes with the podcast. So it's the search for Mitch Hale from the famous Arena BBC heavy metal documentary. That's enough beating around the bush. Let's get on with it. This was my first attempt. To get hold of Rob. Hello, Rob.
Hello. Yes.
Hello there.
Is that Age?
It is indeed.
Age, I'm really sorry. I'm at work now, so I'm going to have to curtail the call.
No worries, man. I completely forgot today, and as soon as I saw your message, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake! And I replied, and then lost the message altogether.
Right, no, don't worry. Honestly, do you want to put it in for another time?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm on what am I on at the moment? I'm on a late shift today, early shift tomorrow. Thursday, I'm on late again, so I could do 11 o'clock on Thursday.
That works. Oh, hang on a sec. Let's have a look. I've got a feeling that I have Thursday. Right, I've got a 12. Yeah, we should be able to squeeze it in.
Okay, no problems. Yeah, all right, we'll say 11 o'clock 30 then.
Lovely. Okay, sorry, mate.
That's all right, mate. Not a problem. I'll speak to you then. I look forward to it.
Okay, cheers, dude. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
All right,
bye. So that was the first attempt to get the interview done, and I said I got his message in there, and I sent I got this message from him saying yes, absolutely. I'll be over just after 2 p.m. hopefully. So I thought, I'll be over as in I'll be over with whatever I'm doing. So I rang him at 2 o'clock, and as you heard, he was at work. And then I got this message from him about 20 minutes later saying, "Oh right, just realised that what you were talking about. That message was meant for my mum. Speak to you on Thursday." So it's nice to know that at least some bollockers out there are as disorganised as slapdash as I am. And this is what happened when we spoke again.
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello, Age. How are you?
I am very well. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. How's your job search going?
There is no job search.
Oh right, okay.
There never was. Are you?
You're happy doing what you're doing?
Yeah. I'm all good. I'm all self-employed, doing a little bit of this, doing a little bit of that, and it's all good.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Cheers, man. Cheers. How's things with you?
Yeah, pretty good. I was one of the few. I don't know if you remember, but I was one of the few down at Southampton for your show a couple of months ago. And it was my lad who was taking pictures that night, if you remember.
Oh, yes. Hello again. Hello. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, fucking hell.
Once again, apologies for Southampton. You know, I must have repeated myself so many times.
No, not at all, mate. The people who actually turned up don't need to apologise. But ironically enough, you know, I've been approached by, well, not approached, but I had a few people saying, "Oh, come and play down here," and funnily enough, a few people saying, "Oh, when are you going to play Southampton?" I was like, "Well, we did in April. Where were you?"
Yeah. I mean, if you were going to do the South Coast again, and I don't know if you ever will, but you know, somewhere like Portsmouth is a bit more. I don't know. It's a bit more metal than Southampton, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest with you, mate. It's we're sticking to major cities at the moment, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
You know, it's the minute. I mean, literally the minute we strayed outside of major cities. I mean, that tour was Manchester, Glasgow, London, Newcastle. And the minute we strayed away from the larger cities and went to like Bristol and Southampton, we suffered. So it's just the way things are. And it's also, you know, it's a band of our size. We pull really well in those places, and then you know Southampton and Bristol were both disappointing, and it's kind of like. You know, maybe it's not Southampton's fault. Maybe, you know, every Acid Rain fan in Southampton does total about 50.
That may be the case. But you see, I'd have thought somewhere like Bristol. I always thought Bristol was a really good metal city, but maybe not.
Yeah, or again, you know, maybe it was the venue we played, maybe it was the promoter. You never know. But I mean, we really pushed the tour. As best we could, and it's it's a venue that people are used to seeing, you know, our type of band in, and you know, it would have been awesome if we'd. I mean, don't get me wrong, you know, we really enjoyed both shows, Bristol and Southampton, and Bristol was an awesome venue, and we could have just done with at least about 100 more people, and it would have been absolutely kicking. But you know, such is life. You can't have everything. Anyway,
you can't.
Anyway, this is not all about me. This is all about you and your quest. So
I can't take credit for the whole thing. I have to say. I mean, it came about. I don't know if you. I think I explained some of the backstory to you, but
you did, yeah. But for the benefit of those listening, I mean, I will have done an introduction to the interview. So I will, you know, I'll have gone through the whole arena heavy metal thing because I mean that was the thing, wasn't it, back in the day?
Absolutely, it was. You know, and it was about the first sighting that anybody'd ever had on mainstream TV of, you know, proper metal bands like Slayer and Metallica, and you know, if you can class Napalm Death as metal, I don't know, but
well, they sort of were back then, weren't they?
Yeah, I guess they were. But you know, I mean, the documentary itself was all encompassing. You know, everything on there from Kiss to, like I say, Napalm Death, and it was a bit messy and it was a bit messed up. But the star of the show at the time was this lad Mitch Hale. Who was just a regular metal guy from we're guessing somewhere in the Midlands, and he had a girlfriend called Penny Rushin was her name, and you know they became the stars of the show in a kind of. I don't want it to come across that, you know, the search for Mitch Hale is mocking Mitch Hale, because it isn't. In fact, what it represents is. There's a whole load of people of my age now who were in their late teens when that documentary came out, who actually hold him in a lot of affection, because that's exactly the way that we used to think and talk about the bands that we loved in those days. So the problem, no, it isn't a problem, but he came out with some absolutely classic lines that, you know, have become very, very quotable amongst sort of, again, people of my age who saw the documentary, in the same way that things like, I don't know, Bad News and Spinal Tap are quotable. So it's not. I want it to be absolutely clear that, you know, we're mocking him, but it'd be really interesting to know whatever happened to him, because he seems literally to have disappeared off the face of the planet.
Well, you're right. It was the era of quotable documentaries, because I know a load of people, sports fans, quote the old Graham Taylor "Do I Not Like That" documentary.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And you're right. It is one of those where everybody was quoting it back in the day.
Yeah, but like I say, I mean, there's been one sighting of him.
Right.
One of the Facebook page, search for Mitch Hale, which I can't take credit for. I don't know who actually started that, but I came across it just looking one day. I just randomly typed Mitch Hale into the Facebook search engine, and this page came up. And somebody on there did see him at, I think it was somewhere like Trent Polytechnic, at a Dark Angel show, possibly with Nuclear Assault supporting, I'm not sure. And they saw him hand his leather jacket to Penny, his girlfriend, while he went down to the dance floor to have a bit of a mosh and a jump about. But other than that, no one knows who he is or where he is, or he might have moved abroad. So we were just kind of hoping that with me getting in touch with you, that maybe one of the bollockers might actually know him, or know where he went, or where he is, or or even Penny. You just never know.
That would be amazing. And obviously, needless to say, if anybody who's out there listening knows what happened, or who he is, or where he is, or whatever. And you said that the search has been quite in depth as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've had a look. I mean, I'm sure other people have done the same, but I've gone through all social media. I've gone through Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter. What else have we tried? Even searching for usernames on Spotify. Somebody did find a Mitch Hale, but it doesn't look like the Mitch that we know.
Right.
I tried 192.com, which is the sort of like the electoral roll search thing, and that didn't really bring anything up either.
Yeah.
There are loads of Mitch Hales or Mitchell Hales, but they don't on 192, they have an age rating, and he doesn't fit into, or an age group, if you like, and he doesn't fit into any of those age groups.
Right.
So it was all sort of 16 to 24-year-olds So it would be really interesting to know where he is. I mean, he might still be around the sort of East Midlands area, but there's a couple of guys on the Facebook page who have kind of narrowed his accent down to Nottingham.
Right.
I don't know how accurate that is.
Well, it fits in with Trent Polly.
Yeah, absolutely, and it also fits in with a documentary where he was seen sort of jumping around or moshing around on the dance floor at Rock City.
Yeah.
Which of course was in Nottingham. I don't know if Rock City still exists, does it?
Yeah, we played it in 2015.
Oh, well, there you go. But I mean, I don't know whether they still have their heavy metal club nights on, or.
I wouldn't like to say. I would have thought so, because to be honest, club nights and stuff like that seem to be more popular than actual fucking gigs these days. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But most venues now want you out by kind of 10 o'clock, or 11 o'clock, so they can get a club night in afterwards.
Yeah, well, that's all right with me. If you're 47 and you're worried about getting home, like I usually am, then I'm happy to be at the venue by 10 o'clock and I can get the train.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I was talking to somebody, I can't remember who now. It was someone in a band, and we were both saying, I think it was Joey Z of Life of Agony. We were saying, like, well, yeah, it's early shows, but ultimately, if that's what they need to do to keep the venues open, then all power to them. Because you can't have it both ways. It's either early curfew or no venue. So if it keeps a few more venues open, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, I get that 100%. Get it 100%. And the amount of venues that have closed down over the past 10 or 12 years is just. I mean, you look at London now. it's a shadow of its former self. So
well, I can. Well, the first ever London gig that we played was the Clarendon Clubfoot. That's gone. The next gig we played was the Fulham Greyhound. That's gone. We played the Astoria many times. That's gone.
Yeah.
We played. Oh shit! Where I think one of the only venues left from back in the day that we played is Brixton Academy.
Right.
Oh, the Marquee, of course. The Marquee, we played loads. And,
yeah.
You know, and
Did you play the old Marquee?
No, I'm not that fucking old. I'm the same age as you cheeky bastard.
Yeah, I know.
I saw
bands like thrash bands at the old Marquee.
Yeah, it's just a little bit far because I was up north, remember? So although I did trek all the way down for Dream Theatre's first ever UK show, which was at the Marquee, which was pretty amazing. London really has, venue-wise, it's suffered a lot. But again, it's kind of like, it's not because those venues weren't being used or were unpopular, or maybe in the Marquee's case that I don't know what the issues were where it shut down, but I know it wasn't doing very well. But the Astoria and the LA2, we lost both because of Crossrail. That's all a fucking huge station. The Fulham Greyhound, it was a massive old wrecked pub. I mean, it wasn't long for this world. Clarendon is a huge tube station in Hammersmith. It's basically the Hammersmith shopping centre.
Yeah, what about the Palais? I wonder what happened to that. I know it's shut down, but I wonder if that went the same way.
I think it's actually still there. I'm not sure.
That was the first thrash show that I ever saw there was Anthrax and Onslaught in '86, I think it was.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So that was crazy, but so that's how far back we're going. But anyway,
I remember seeing the advert for that in Kerrang, thinking, shit, I wish I could get to that.
Yeah,
but
it was quite something.
Yeah, no, I went. I ended up going to see. I saw Anthrax do their. That one night they did at the Hammersmith Odeon when it was the day before, it was on a Sunday, it was the day before they released I Am the Law.
Okay.
And because I remember Joey Belladonna throwing a load of the 12-inch singles out into the crowd. And that was fucking immense show, that really was. Probably the loudest gig I've ever been to.
Was that the one... were they supported by Metal Church? And Crimson Glory, possibly?
Oh, possibly. Yeah, I think you might be right.
And I'll tell you the reason I remember that, because when you said it was the loudest show you've ever been to, they even mentioned it on like TVAM or whatever it was called at the time, on the ITV version, and they said that it had gone down in history as the loudest indoor show ever. Which would explain a lot. That's why I'm probably going to need hearing aids in about 7 or 8 years' time. But yeah, I seem to remember it even made sort of like, proper national media for being so loud.
Yeah, it was. I remember at the time, Scott Ian was going on about it in interviews around the time, saying, "Oh, it was this amazing, it was this amazing gig, and we had a fucking, it was the loudest ever at the Hammersmith Odeon or something like that." So were you at that show then?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I mean, I was probably at most of the shows in those days because I lived in London then, and I was only sort of half an hour away from Hammersmith on the tube. So any thrash show at Hammersmith Odeon, I was almost certainly there.
Whereabouts in London were you living then?
Out in Uxbridge. Well, it wasn't. It's not true London. It's Greater London.
Yeah, but I know it well. I worked there for quite a few years. Uxbridge is. I lived down the road in Ealing.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, that's where I was born, actually. So.
Oh, I know Uxbridge very, very well. It's just round the corner.
And that's how. I'm claiming my claim to fame is that I don't know if you know Jason from Akakoka.
No, I don't.
he and I were in a thrash band when we were 15 years old, out in Uxbridge, and so yeah, that was the Uxbridge thrash scene basically. It was me and Jason and a couple of other guys, and that was it. So
well, it's funny you should say that. It's funny you should say that because literally a couple of messages. I've got your message in the Talking Bollocks Facebook page inbox. I've got your message. And then it's separated by one message, and then the previous message to that is somebody recommending that I get him on the show, because apparently in some interview to do with the new album, he name checks us as one of the bands that he used to go and see.
Yeah, almost certainly. Yeah, it almost certainly saw Acid Rain back in the day. But yeah, get him on the show definitely. I'll give him a shout myself and G him on a bit if you like.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, because I tried tweeting the band, but I tried tweeting the band, got nothing back, and I haven't really been able to track down who their PR is. So, hang on. I've just suddenly realised we've got the same live agent, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Although to be fair, you would probably be a quicker route if you fancy.
Yeah, I can do that. It's no problem. He's actually
awesome.
Part of the Facebook page on the search for Mitch Hale as well.
Oh, really?
As is David Gray, the drummer, as well. So yeah, they're in on it.
Oh well, look, this is a perfect excuse. Tell him that we've had a chat about this, and tell him I want to get him on.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Oh, this is brilliant. This is like two birds, one stone. Got you on to talk about Mitch Hale. And let's get Jason from Akakoki on the show.
Why not?
Yeah, this is typical Talking Bollocks. The whole thing is taking shape. It's taking shape as it happens. It's the sort of it's the knockabout nature of the podcast. I'm getting guests whilst talking to a guest. Perfect.
Brilliant. Amazing work.
Cool, man. Well, look, Rob, I really appreciate you coming on, man.
That's all right. It's an absolute pleasure.
Lovely, mate. Well, look,
it's always a pleasure to talk about the old days as well. So
yeah, I know. It's like, I'm going to start calling this podcast for old people.
Talking Bollocks for oldies.
That's it. Yeah. All right, mate. Well, look, have a good one. Sorry about the other day ringing you at work because I forgot.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry about sending you a text message that was meant for my mum as well.
Oh, what are we like, eh? As I said, that's proper motherly love. That's proper motherly love.
Too right,
it was funny when you sent me a text saying I'll be round in a minute. I did think it was a bit strange.
Well, that's what you get if you don't phone me when you're supposed to phone me. Then you get threats.
Absolutely. All right. Well, look. Thank your son again for his photography work at Bristol.
No problem.
Sorry, at Southampton, and thanks for being an extra two people to come along, and thank you again.
No, it's a pleasure, and we'll get up to when you play London again. We'll get up to London, and I'll get the beers in.
Cool. Nice one, mate. All right,
mate.
Cheers, dude.
Speak to you soon. Cheers.
Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So there you go. Can you help find Mitch Hale? That is the question. Are you out there, Mitch? Are you a bollocker? Hey, if you are, come on. Pull your head out your arse. The world wants to know what you're doing and where have you been and what you're up to. Please do get in touch. I'd forgotten all about that documentary until Rob got in touch, and it all came flooding back. And it was really cool to have him on the podcast as well. Really, really cool. So thanks for doing that, Rob. And if anyone out there can help, get in touch with me, get in touch with him, get in touch with me, I'll put you in touch with him, and let's see if we can track down Mitch Hale. And so we're now coming towards the end of the podcast. One thing I'd like to say is Andrew WK, heavy metal Elton John, or total and utter pile of shit. You decide. It's annoying. You know when it's like when somebody you don't like does a song that you just cannot deny. There's a couple of his songs that you just cannot deny. They have to be listened to. But I just can't fucking stand him. It's really weird. I really like two of his songs. But I don't like. I don't know. I don't like him. I don't like what he does. But it's just one of those things. One of those fucking things. I've got to learn to just get on with it, haven't I? But I'm going to finish the podcast with an apology. And it's not often you'll ever hear me say that, / if ever. And my apology is to the Butcher Babes. I know. Who would have thought that you would ever hear me make an apology to the Butcher Babes? But I kind of feel I have to. There was an interview with Heidi Shepherd of the Butcher Babes on the Metal Pod. Sorry, cable fell out then. Fucker. These things happen. There was an interview with Chuck and Godless on the Metal Podcast with Heidi Shepherd of the Butcher Babes. And on the last podcast, I summed up my feelings about the Butcher Babes as being insincere, and I kept saying that's the best word for it, insincere. And then I listened to the interview with Heidi, and she spoke about being abused by a family member. She talks about her broken down marriage that she had because she was in the Mormon religion. She was incredibly open and also spoke about how some of those experiences in life had informed some of her lyrics, and explained, and sort of mentioned a couple of lyrics and a couple of songs. And when I was listening to it, it was a really absorbing interview. I'd much rather listen to that than any of their music. And I couldn't help but feel that what I had just said about the insincerity of their music was completely and totally inappropriate. When somebody is singing, deeply about abuse and about a family member like that, there's no way that I can let myself off the hook and that I can let it ride that I accused them of being insincere. So I take that back. I still think the music is utter shit. I don't like it at all. No saving grace for me at all, and I will probably continue to take the piss. But credit where credit's due, and me calling anything that they've done insincere after listening to that interview is just incorrect and wrong. And I felt that I felt that it was only appropriate for me to sort of put the record straight. So there you go. We've had it all, haven't we, about the Butcher Babes? I was going to interview them, and then I decided not to, and then this. Look, I will still take the piss, but I think I've said all I need to say on that subject. So there you go. And that's purely me. That is me. No one has said that I need to that I need to make an apology or anything like that. It's purely brilliant. Just got a notification on my phone. North Korea have tested another ballistic missile. Oh, great. Isn't the world a wonderful place? Fucking hell. It's all happening live here, apart from the fact that by the time you hear this, that'll be out of date. And fuck it. Anyway, it is the end of the podcast. It is the usual time for me to get all lovey-dovey in your ears. All I can say is, if you want to hear more, there is more available. It is at patreon.com/Howard H. Smith. It costs you $5 a month, £3.50 a month. Lots of extra content, lots of extra bollocks. If you like this and you want to get more, that's where to hear it. Thank you very much to all of my subscribers, because they make the difference. They keep advertising off the podcast. They mean that the podcast still stays full of the biting, insightful commentary that you know me for. Cunt. Butcher Babes, fucking shit. Dave Mustaine, bit of a knobhead. Gene Simmons, fucking ugly. There you go. Thank you very much to the subscribers. I will continue to try and create more exclusive content for you guys as well. And I'm going to keep doing this podcast as long as it's fucking physically possible. So just get used to it. I ain't going anywhere. Hopefully neither are you. Please do share the podcast. Tell people about it. I've also got the first an audience with H coming up at the Sanctuary Bar in Burnley. Tickets are now available on C Tickets. Just put Howard H. Smith into C Tickets. You can get a ticket. That's as close as I'm going to get to a on the road talking bollocks at the moment. So it's just me jibber jabbering about the past and about the future and about all sorts of wonderful tales about being on the road with thrash royalty back in the day and all of the stupid shit we got up to because we were young and dumb. So that's it really, folks. Look, it's an absolute pleasure. It always is. Please do stay in touch and share the podcast. Tell everybody about it. It's a pleasure being in your ears, all of your ears. Thank you very much. Until next month, have a good time. Speak to you then. Fuck me, it'll be Christmas.